It's good to have you today on Youth Assembly. My name is Sylvia Ishebe. Today is the 10th day of November 2020, and we are looking at the prolonged strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the future of Nigerian students. Well, the 8 months old strike, embarked on by the Academic Staff Union of Universities to press on their demands, have had adverse effects on the academic progress of students, as many of them are at home doing nothing, practically nothing, while others are falling prey to social vices as the wait for schools to resume continues, as the wait for school to resume, I beg your pardon. So what can be done to avoid incessant strikes by ASU? That is a question we want to answer today. And how can Nigerian students make the best out of the prolonged strike? Students shouldn't just stay at home and just while away time without achieving something or basic skills. Well, we'll be looking at all of that because I have with me right here some guests, Dr. Kashim Umar, who is the ASU chairperson, University of Abuja. Welcome, Dr. Kashim.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. We also have Kingsley Atang. He is a youth development practitioner. Welcome, Kingsley.
Thank you for having me.
I also have with me here, joining me online, Comrade Duzaho Francis. He is the president, Kubwa World Students Association. Welcome, Comrade.
Thank you very much, Ms. Xavier, for having me.
All right, so ASU embarked on the strike on the 23rd of March this year to press on their demands, which include revitalization allowance, earned academic allowances, renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, visitation panels, amongst others. Now, the federal government and ASU have been holding series of meetings to resolve the problem, and it seems as if there's no headway. So, how long will it take for them to come to an amicable resolution? What do you think, Dr. Kasim?
Thank you very much. As I've said earlier, the ASU as a union embarked on strike on the 23rd of March 2020.
Yes.
To press on our demand mainly for revitalization, fund for revitalization of public universities in Nigeria. Far back to 2013, there was a committee set up, a joint committee set up by the federal government to go around all over the public universities and see the public universities have turned to a graveyard, if I may use that word, because nothing is working, no laboratory, no classrooms, so many issues. And the government of Federal Republic of Nigeria then came up with an idea that 1.3 trillion will be pumped into the university system to revitalize these public universities. And it is going to be paid on 6 tranches. First of all, 220 billion naira will be injected into the university as the year goes. They had a program. All along, it was that 2013 that 220 billion was released. Nothing more. Since that 2013 up to date, nothing was released. So there are all other issues like academic allowances, as we've said, withheld salaries, issues of renegotiation, visitation panels of all public universities, and so on. Government went to sleep, and until 2020, where we have to remind them again. And it is just quite unfortunate that the only thing the Nigerian government understands is strike.
And but this strike has been going on for 8 months. Very soon it will be 9 months, and 9 months is a good enough time for a woman to give birth. So what is going on? The strike is happening, and you say government like strike, like that's when they act. So why is it taking so long without them coming to something, to an agreement?
you ought to understand that within these 9 months you are counting, there was COVID for about, I think, 4 5 months. They could not do anything. They could not do anything. So if you are counting, maybe the strike have lasted for 9 months. They in the other side will come and tell you that within the COVID period, no engagement was made. But for the past, within this couple of months, 3 meetings have been held, and the union have actually proposed certain minimum offer to them, in which we are still waiting for them to react within this offer.
Okay. All right. I'll get back to you. But let me hear from Mr. Kingsley Atang. Still with me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
So many young people are just tired. They're tired of staying at home. I was reading somewhere where somebody was lamenting a young girl who has been in year one for 2 years, since 2018, and she's looking for a way out, like leaving the country and starting her BSc, her degree all over again, like starting year one all over again. So what do you think they can do to make themselves useful while they wait for school resumption?
So for me, it's quite a sad situation that we've really found ourselves. Young people form the highest demography in the country, and in that number, we have a sizable number who are students in the university, and as a result of this prolonged strike, has made these young people actually stay at home and get involved into things that are not. There's this word that says an idle man is a devil's workshop. Obviously, very true. But one of the things I would like to really encourage young people is that you need to be able to seize this opportunity to your own advantage. To be very honest, ASU have their interest. They want to protect, they want to project, and the government also have their interest. They want to protect and they want to project. Young people should be able to look at for how can I take advantage of this opportunity in a positive way. One of which is to be able to use this opportunity to acquire the relevant skills needed to be able to address life challenges. Most of these young people have serious deficiency in some certain skills required. So they need to be able to acquire some relevant skills that they need. One of it is digital skills. There are several free digital skills training going up out there online through Google, where you can be able to learn digital skills and even start earning money for yourself. So that capacity, that time you are spending on Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, and the rest of it, if you can exact that amount of time towards learning digital skills, you can even become an influencer. You can be able to manage social media outlets for clients, for business owners. That is one. Then there are other short courses. If you go to allison.com, there are numerous courses young people can be able to go acquire so that you can be able to boost your knowledge, increase your knowledge base. And because this is our world today, you need to be able to be diverse. Yes, not the fact that master of all, knowing everything and then not being a master of anything. It is important that you need to be able to acquire some good sets of skills that can help you be able to push forward in this life. And then we're also looking at communication skills. This is a critical skill that everyone, no matter whatever skill you go learn from school, whatever profession, you must know how to communicate. You must know how to be able to sell yourself. You must know how to be able to send a message out there to the public regarding whoever that you're working with. So communication skill for me is very, very critical. The young people need to be able to get these skills. And all these skills I'm talking about, they are also formed around soft skills. Another skill, again, I feel they need to be able to acquire, even in this session, is leadership skills. You know, it's important that they say everything falls and lies and rises on leadership. Young people need to be able to learn leadership skills. There are numerous opportunities online to be able to learn leadership skills. I started learning leadership skills when I was quite very young, just because I enjoyed that word called leadership. I went online and learned about it. I never knew I would have opportunities through which I can't be able to, because the first thing first is leading yourself. If you are not able to lead yourself, acquire the discipline to lead yourself, you cannot be able to lead other people. Everyone is a leader in their own different capacity. So you need to be able to learn leadership skills at this point in time. That will help you become that exceptional leader, that leader that can be able to exert influence from to people, exert influence on people from where they are to where they ought to be. There are countless skills out there young people still need to. And then young people also need to be able to also learn some analyzing informations on analyzing data, mining data. Some of these skills that I'm talking about, they are out there. I just mentioned one. There's Allison.com where you can go and learn some of these skills. So I'm really, really much focused about learning skills because
About
young
learning
people have
skills.
data.
Okay. Okay. So we will talk some more on the skills, but let me hear from Dr. Kasim. But before I ask him the question, if you are just tuning in, it is Click Niger's Youth Assembly. My name is Sylvia, and yes, I have Dr. Kashim and Kingsley Yatang, who are here to help answer the questions we have about ASU and Nigerian students and the prolonged strike. So the question I want you to answer, if you are right here watching, is what do you think students need at this time? What kind of skills, what kind of engagement should they be, should they surround themselves with, or should they get skills they should get in order to stay relevant in the nearest future, now and in the nearest future? Okay, Dr. Kashim.
Yes, just like the co-partner have just said,
Yes.
the strike is just unavoidable because
Mm.
some of these students that we're talking about, they are handicapped. Handicapped in the essence that the money is not even there for some of them to even go extra mile to get all these skills. It is a good thing to learn skills, but when you have you like some family that if you look at where they are coming from, they cannot even offer for daily bread, even what to eat. Now, yes, it is a good thing that they have to learn the skill, but let us even know the basis of where some of these students are coming from. You see, it is just unfortunate in this country that education has been relegated to certain background that they want to push Nigeria into, like primary schools and secondary school, which public secondary school and primary school does not exist in Nigeria today. If you want a good education for your people. So now, yes, I support the learning of the skill, but the question is, how many of these are students or parents can afford to sponsor some of these children to even get this skill learned? That is the issue.
Some of the skills don't even need money. Learn from
Yeah,
a neighbor. Learn from somebody around you. You know, some
yeah,
people
yeah.
do this apprenticeship.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I agree. I agree. I
Let me
agree
also
with
come
you.
in.
I
Yes.
agree with you, and that is why I said I agree with the my colleagues in the studio.
So are you
Yes,
saying they
that
should just stay at
yeah.
home without learning skills if they don't have the
No,
money?
no, no, no. If you have the opportunity to do that, you have
Yeah.
to go and do it.
Okay.
If you have such opportunity, in fact, let me be honest with you. There are students that does not even have. In fact, it's not even online. Cannot even get phone to access
Mm.
who. Where will they go to? And these
Okay.
are
Let
just
me.
basic issues that we are trying to, iron out. So
Okay.
I agree with him 100%. Whoever has
Okay.
that opportunity should do so, or
Yeah. So can I
whoever
quickly
feel in the society that can provide such opportunity for these students should also do so.
Mm. Okay, before you talk, Mr. Kingsley, let me hear from the comrade himself. He's a student. So, comrade Josiah Francis. Okay, he left. Network is not his friend today. But okay, over to you, Mr. Kingsley. What do you have to say about
Okay,
what?
yes, I'm also in support of what he said. There's also a set of people who probably don't have a phone or can't be able to access the internet or even acquire data to be able to learn some of those skills. One of the things which is important, which everyone across, whether you have access or you have don't have access, can do is volunteering. What is
Mm,
that gift? What is that talent? What is that skill you want to acquire? What are you learning in school? You can be able to offer yourself to volunteer in any place.
free
That
of
will serve
charge.
you free of charge. Tell them that, oh, I don't mind. I want to just come and learn this. I just want to come and volunteer and provide my service. In exchange, I will gain experience. In exchange, I'll be able, and this will also add up to your CV. It will also add up to your work experience. So
Okay.
volunteerism really need to increase that. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so let me see if I can hear Comrade now. Comrade, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm with you. Okay, no.
The
I can hear
background
you
noise,
very well.
but it's okay. We understand that you are in a place where you can't really help yourself. But tell us, what do you think about all of this strike? Students are tired of staying at home. Okay,
Well,
students are
thank you
tired
very
of
much,
staying at
Miss
home,
Sylvia.
and yes, go ahead, go ahead. What can they
Yeah,
do?
you see, Ni- Nigeria presently, we cannot say we are moving forward in Nigeria right now. No matter what the federal government tried to do to explain their reasons for not coming to terms with the ASU, I really think the federal government is trying to.
Mm. Okay, so we lost that connection. It's so sad. But I wanted him to really talk for students, while Mr. Kingsley is talking for advocating for skill acquisition. And
But
Dr. Kashim.
Yeah, yeah, well, yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so you say the strike is for good, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But some have said that ASU should adopt other less harmful alternative methods of dispute resolution. Uh, Okay,
You
I
see,
had to take him out. Some people say, why don't ASU approach the federal government or use another approach, an alternative method of dispute resolution? So is this possible or realistic at this time?
the alternative resolution, like what? I keep on asking question. What is the
Must it be
alternative?
strike all the time?
The question, wait, the question I'm asking, if you ask for alternative resolution, this is a government far back to 2000, like what I said, 2013. These issues are being on the boner. Less than 50 correspondences have been exchanged within these 7 years. And even along the line, warning strike, if you remember, if you recall, there was a warning strike of November 4th, 2018 on most of this issue. Letters have been written, agreement, counter agreement, MOA, MOU has been signed. No single implementation. Now, which alternative? You see, if anybody is saying any other alternative from what they understand, then I think we are also going to be glad if suggestions are going to be made, because you found the caliber of people you enter into agreement with duly signed, not forced, but there will be no implementation, nothing. And
But
again,
ASU
you
has been going on strike even when I was in university for a long time, and they still go back to the same demands, the same thing. As if even after the strike and they call it up, they still go back. Their demands are not met. So why not look for an alternative means? But maybe let's hear from a youth, since you are asking if people have suggestions, they should contribute.
yes, yes.
so
Mr.
so
Kingsley, what do you
So
think?
for me, this is the honest truth. Do we have the political will, the interest of the people of heart? The two core responsibility of government is the welfare and the security of the people as enshrined in our constitution. How much is the government doing to ensure that the welfare of the people is well guaranteed? And you cannot be able to guarantee welfare if you cannot provide good quality education. And then a situation where this is not really met with, we are going to be seeing issues like this. One of the things I really want to say is that government should ensure that whatever agreement it reaches with ASU are implementable. They are implementable. They shouldn't get into any agreement simply because they need to be able to call up the strike and get the lecturers to go back to work and all of that. They must be able to critically weigh their options and see how they can negotiate with ASU to order to make sure that ASU takes it, and it has to be implementable. That's for them. For me, for ASU, We say in our language that actually when you draw things and draw things to an extent, you will get tired at some point. But I know that they are protecting the interests or their interests, and of course that is really fair enough. But for me, I just want to make a gentle appeal that ASU should be able to weigh all options. They are all options: advocacy, key advocacy, tactics, dialogue upon dialogue. They are all options. Please, before going into, they should look at all options before adopting a means that can be able to resolve these pending issues with government. So
Okay.
that's what I really would want to say. Yeah.
It seems like Dr. Hashim has something to add. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, comrade. What you've just said, in fact, the union has been part of this advocacy, even on policy issues. In fact, emanating government challenging the union, which sources, which areas do you think we can go into and make more money to revitalize education, public universities in Nigeria? One of it, if you remember, TED Fund, it was a baby idea of the union. If you remember the needs assessment, it is still the same baby child of the union. And let me be honest with you, all the advocacy in terms of even the educational sector has been made, but the insincerity of government is the key. The government is not sincere enough to hold up to the agreement signed by them. And again, let me be honest with you and again correct certain impression in which my brother also have just exercised here, protecting the interests of the union. Look, all the strike in this that the union have embarked, the issue of the revitalization has been the key. I told you the need assessment of 2013 that all government set up a team,
Yeah.
including the union that went around these universities, came back and said, on a minimum, let us inject 220 billion naira on yearly basis for the period of 6 years. It was not from ASU, but from government. Government reneged. In fact, immediately that government, they paid the 220. That is all. They never did anything again. And come, if you are saying the interest of the union, this is the only union, this is the only agency that I know far back to 2009 that is still collecting the same salary structure. We
But
had
would
an
you
agreement
say,
of 2009.
well, so with all these
So,
agreements and lack of
yeah,
implementation, like you said, would you
yes,
say that the strike that ASU has embarked on in time past, right now, has been effective in tackling the many challenges that the university sector has?
as far as we are concerned, the strike that we've been embarking on, it is a just cause. It is a cause that the students, the parents, because we are parents to some of these students we are seeing. Our children are in these schools. We don't have money to send our children even to abroad. No single academist, no single lecturer has his son reading somewhere or even in private universities. They are in the same public university. But we cannot fold our hands. See what has happened to primary and secondary education in this country to happen to the same university which you and me attended. If we check and go back to the university many of us graduated from, let's say 90s or 20, you cannot find the same thing there. Go to lab, people were using stove, no water in the lab. Which kind of a country is that?
So how can the issue of this poor funding, lack of infrastructure be tackled by the government and stakeholders to avoid the strikes from reoccurring?
It is the government that has to have a change of heart. Government must have a change of heart. We must have a sincere individual that manage the affairs of the state and take education as their priority. Every other things we know, every sector depends on education. If by the time you relinquish your education to certain background, at the end of the day, you're getting nothing out of it. So government must change their mentality, their idea on education. They must spend, in fact, let me tell you, go to Botswana, smaller countries in this country, check their budget of education. Countries
Yeah.
that are even on war always, and we claim we are the giant of Africa. The giant of Africa.
Yeah, we are the giants of Africa. But recently, ASU's leadership were quoted in the National Daily saying that the federal government should declare a state of emergency in the educational sector and close down public schools, for a period of time to tackle the rot in the university. So what's the perspective on this?
I don't think the president says they should close down the public universities. What was it that the government should declare state of emergency, and declaring state of emergency does not necessarily mean that you have to close down the public universities, but to make it as a priority, just like what was discussed far back to 2013, of saying that they are going to inject every year, they are going to inject 220 billion naira into the system. If they keep to that idea, we'll have not been where we are today.
Okay, so let me hear from Comrade Francis. We've been trying to get him to talk to us, at least from the students' perspective, so that we can be able to also hear from students and see ways that they can be helped during this trying times. It's really a trying time for students. So, Comrade, are you back? Can you hear me? Hello, Comrade.
Yeah, I'm back. I can hear you.
Please, before you go off again, let me quickly ask you this one. So, what do you think students should do now that they're at home in order to engage themselves and anticipate the resumption of schools? Go ahead. Hello? Okay, so, well, it seems as if we can't really hear. We won't be able to speak with Comrade at all during the course of this show. We have a few minutes left, but let's continue with Dr. Kashim. We also had earlier Kingsley Atang, youth development practitioner, who was telling us about skills. Youths need to engage themselves in digital skills, leadership skills, and a lot. We'll try to get him back before we round up. But, Doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still with me. So, what do you think students can be doing now as they wait for the schools to resume?
The alternative thing students can be doing is just like what Kingsley have actually said, is to get themselves involved in any legitimate idea, have their tutorial within themselves. If those that has access to online, you can go on online training and get themselves equipped, or pass the idea to other individuals who does not have the access to do this, and see the way and manner in which they could come up, government could come up and respond to most of these issues we put before them.
Okay, so you're the ASU chairperson, University of Abuja. When do you think schools will be back, will resume?
I think that
when is it going to happen?
That question is left to government. Yeah, it's government that can actually answer that.
So you won't give a little hope to students who are listening right now?
The hope I can give to students is that they should be patient and wait until when the government responds to most of these issues raised by our youth.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Kashim Umar. He is the ASU chairperson, University of Abuja. We also give thanks to Comrade Dizaho Francis. He made a little contribution, but we understand sometimes these days the things work like this. He is also the president, Kubwa World Student Association, and also Kingsley Atang, who is the youth development practitioner. He has said youth should engage themselves in skills that they will own and nobody can take away from them. Well, my name is Sylvia Ishewe, and this show was put together by Ihoma UKJ, supervised by Ehi Ohiani. You can continue the conversation or continue to listen to us on www.clickniger.net. Follow us on Instagram at ClickNiger, and on Twitter, we're at ClickNiger one. All right, we'll be back tomorrow for another interesting edition of Youth Assembly. Remember to share, like, and comment on this video and tell us what you think students should be doing at this time to keep themselves busy. For now, have a terrific Tuesday. Bye, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Oh.